Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Saturday live stream. It's the afternoon, so everything is just so bright. I woke up and had a migraine. I went to the bank to change my phone number. For those of you who don't know, I changed my number. And when you change your number, it's the biggest thing in the world because everything is connected to the old one, so you have to change your account. And when I went to the bank, everything seemed pretty short, but people went to the tellers and obviously they took their own time. Some people took like 30 minutes or so. That's not a bad thing at all. It's just that you would expect to finish quickly. At least it was not month end, because when month end comes, basically everyone is there, and that really sucks. So I just want to be very clear on that. I finally got my bank number, my phone number to the bank changed. I'm glad I did this because, as I said in my previous live stream, because I made like a bunch of them, um, I've mentioned that changing the number was just something I had to do. I could not get my old number back. It was deactivated. And it was sad because I did not know if you don't put airtime on your phone, it will be deactivated. So if you have a small amount of airtime, that's great. But if you have nothing, then they deactivate it. That's just ridiculous. They don't tell you these things at all. That's the main problem with stuff like this. They refuse to tell anyone. This was the first time I figured that out. I had no idea they could deactivate something. So I'm very excited that I at least know now not to make that mistake. Anyways, anyways, what's on the agenda for today? I don't even know. So I woke up with a migraine, my vision was blurry, and I still had to go. And get things done. But my migraine is much better. There's a slight pain on my head, but that's fine. Wakanda Forever producer says Wakanda Forever is like The Godfather. I have never watched either of those movies. I'm not into those movies. I know Black Panther is pretty popular right now. Obviously, I'm just not into a lot of these Marvel movies. It's cool if you are, but I'm not interested. Even stuff for DC, I feel like they have no idea what they're doing. They have all the classic heroes, but they refuse to make good content. I remember watching Man of Steel. Man of Steel was so boring. Man of Steel was the most boring movie ever. It's insane how that movie is praised. It was just so boring. Zack Snyder does not understand Superman. He does not understand these simple heroes. And Superman in Man of Steel ended up turning into a villain because he was fighting what's his name Zod, and as he was fighting, um, guess what happens? He destroys buildings. So many people died. Superman would never do that. The real Superman would never allow other people to get hurt. He would never do that. So Zack Snyder does not care about telling a proper story. That's just the truth. And if you look at the Justice League, even though his version is slightly better, if you look at the first version, which was not directed by Zack Snyder, that version is way better because it keeps the concept of kind-hearted superheroes. These superheroes don't have to be super dark. Not every superhero is like Batman. And even with Batman, you can still keep him very positive. People still don't get how to do these superheroes. It's really insane. Now, it does seem that they're going to be using Superman in the future. I wonder how boring they're going to make the next movie. Because, as I said, Man of Steel was boring. Batman vs. Superman was okay. Justice League 2017 was okay, if you realize the fact that that's how superhero movies supposed to be. And then you have uh, last year's Justice League, which was slightly better than 2017. And at the end of the day, we're going to be getting a lot more DC movies. It is official that Henry Cavill is going to be the Superman for, let's just say, I don't even know, couple decades. So we got to get used to that. I'm fine with Henry Cavill playing Superman. I think is an amazing Superman. He looks pretty cool, you know? When it comes to the outfits, I really wish they bring back his old outfit. I don't really like the fact that they took that underwear out. Some people may think it's silly, but this was something so iconic. They did better with less CGI and movie magic. What happened to good writing? Exactly. A lot of movies these days don't care about good writing. Even video games, they don't have good writing anymore. Everything just feels so terrible. Everything feels so boring. So it is interesting to see how many people praise uh, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm sure it possibly could be a good movie, but then again, the way people praise it as if it's the best thing since sliced bread is really ridiculous. So, we just have so much to talk about. Okay, another voice actor unseated due to race. Francesca Miller Rose from Bleach, previously voiced by Erin Fitzgerald, is now voiced by a black actress. So, if you don't know what's been going on in the voice acting industry, basically, they don't want whites to voice different races. And that's ridiculous because it's a voice, it's not a physical role, it's just a voice. Anyone can voice any character as long as you get the perfect voice for that character, right? That's fine. This not only happened to one character, this happened to another character in Bleach. So you're not allowed to voice any of these characters now. It's insane. It really is insane. I'm gonna watch the Japanese dub. I watched the English dub, and the English dub was amazing. But this new Bleach anime, I'm not gonna watch the English dub. I'm just gonna watch it originally in Japanese because the way they treat the voice actors, it's insane. It really is insane. It's unfair. It's really unfair. People talk about how everything must be represented so well, but look what Disney's doing with Snow White, Little Mermaid. Look what they're doing. You know, they don't care about race swapping, but when it comes to stuff like this, they want you to be on the dot with the race. It's really vexing. This is unfair. You know, anyone could voice anyone, but it seems now that we have to be so crystal clear with the race. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It is very unfair. If people were used to the voice, why change it? That's something important. Yes, Resident Evil for PS1 was a great game with what I thought was a great story. 20 years later, not so much. There's so many Resident Evil games now. I'm sure in a couple of years there will be Resident Evil 9. They're also remaking Resident Evil 4, which is going to be very censored. This is just so sad. The voice actress declined because she wanted a brown person to play it. That's ridiculous. If someone was used to your voice, then why change it, you know? If someone was used to a voice and the voice actor is still alive, why decline it, you know? This would not happen the other way. This would not happen the other way. We have characters like Snow White being played by, I don't even know what she is. But regardless, you know, if people want to be casting colorblind, that's fine. That's very fine. But it's always one sided. It's very much one sided. And it's really crazy because all of these characters originally are voiced by Japanese people. They don't care about ticking race boxes. They just voice them. That's it. That's all they do. To see the West behave like this, it's really insane. I'm not gonna watch this in English dub. They can go screw themselves. I'm just gonna watch the Japanese dub because there's none of that nonsense. Anyways, it's just sad. It's just so sad to see them do this. And this happened since 2020. Voice actors and actresses were leaving because they did not want to voice a brown character. Even though it's a cartoon character, not a real character. It's a make-believe character. And it's just a voice. It doesn't matter who plays it. It can be brown, black, it does not matter. As long as they get the voice perfect, then that's good. But they refuse to do that. They really refuse to do that. It's embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. Alright, it is 12:35. That's very, very early. I expected it to be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Wow. Sometimes things go so slow, and I really like when things go slow because then you can take advantage of everything in it. When time goes fast, everything is just so difficult. Alright, let me check bounding into comics. I did not check any of the news sites today because I just left and went to the bank. So I had no time to check anything. So let's just see what's going on. Oh yes, Marvel is making Blade, remaking Blade. And basically, what's happening is it's not doing so well. It's not doing so well. And they have to rewrite the script. They have to rewrite the script because it's woke. Why can't they get it right the first time? Why can't they get it right? It's so simple to get something right. But they have to have multiple rewrites now because they wrote trash stuff. According to a new rumor, development on Disney's upcoming introduction of Blade to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going far worse than previously reported. So it's just a rumor that it's being rewritten because it's embarrassingly woke. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because that's all they care about now. It's all about lecturing people. It's all about mocking people. It's never about entertaining. And then when they fail, they blame innocent people for not watching that terrible show. I've also heard another movie was being held back. I don't know which movie it was. I can't remember, but it was in the news recently. Some movie, I can't remember. Indiana Jones 5. That's the movie. That's the movie. I heard it did so bad in the test screenings that um, it's just embarrassing. And I'm not surprised because they're going to mess up Indiana Jones like how they messed up every single character in history. They messed up Lord of the Rings. I can't believe they messed that up, but I'm not that surprised because this was being planned for a while now. They wanted to make their own Game of Thrones. And if you look at Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, if you just judge both of them, you realize that one was created by a very Christian person, and the other was created by someone who wants to always destroy expectations. So basically, if you think something's going to happen, it won't happen. And there's a big difference between two. How is Rippaverse doing? Eric July's superhero comics? Do you follow him at all? I do. He hasn't been posting a lot. He posts like once a week now. I do know that there's going to be a second issue coming out very soon. So the second issue could possibly be out. I don't know. I hope it comes out quickly. I really hope it comes out quickly. But I have heard that it's basically being worked on. And Eric is a very swifty person. He gets things done so quickly. So issue 2 is coming out soon. He did update it on his YouTube page, but that's all I could know about. Not much other updates. I'm waiting for him to start releasing more types of comics, and I feel like he will do that maybe around next year. He might release different type of comics, not just Isom, but maybe something else. I really want to see this grow. I really want to see this grow. The amount of people that still hate on this comic book because it's so successful, it's ridiculous. Mainstream comic book websites don't care about this. They will not cover this. They refuse to cover this. This is more successful than any comic book that came out this year. They refuse to talk about it. They refuse to think about it. I think Eric did a good job marketing this. I was so surprised when I saw the trailer for the first time. I was so surprised because the artwork was spectacular. Just everything felt spectacular. Eric July knows how to make quality content. That's something needed in 2022. I've barely seen any good comic books recently. That's exciting. Glad you do follow him. He's done with woke comics. Yeah. Woke comics is just such a painful thing. I'm still surprised so many comic book companies are still selling those woke comic books because they do so bad. They're terrible. They don't make enough money, but it doesn't matter as long as the ideology is being pushed, then that's fine. I am interested in dropping my own comic books, but I don't know which idea to drop first. I have so many ideas, but I don't even know which one to start off with first. I know I wanted to make a horror book first, but I keep thinking that I need more development time for that story. So I feel like I can keep that aside and focus on something more refined. He's showing the heroes have a type and they can be super. In my opinion, I'm looking forward to watching him grow too. Eric July is going to become so big. By next year, it could possibly be way more well known than DC, which I hope for. Because DC, Marvel, they don't deserve all the heroes they have. They mistreat the comic book characters. They always like to change them, make them terrible. They don't know even how to write good characters. They don't have any passion anymore. The only passion they have is to annoy people on Twitter. So I really hope I get at least one comic book out by next year. I just have so many ideas. I think a horror one will work perfectly, but I still need to work on the story. I do have an interesting concept for a dragon story, but I think I still need to work on that because it'll require so much of characters, and I have to write so much. What else? I can start off with something pretty small, pretty simple, and we can see where we can go with that. I'll try my best to see what I can come up with quickly as I can because I just want something out. I've been talking about releasing comics for years now and I've never gotten that done. I guess I'm just way too lazy sometimes. I'm just way too lazy. Do it. That would be so cool. Thank you. I will do it. But I'm still stuck on which idea. I need to round up all of my ideas and look at them properly and see which one is ready. Couple years ago, I was going to make a trans superhero, and I remember announcing it on the channel, and I kept thinking about it. How should I go about this character? And I think I know what to do for this character, so I think I should work with this comic book character first. Because so much concepts have been written for the character. So I think I should do that first. Will it be successful? I don't think so. If it will be the most successful comic book in history, I just think it'll be cool to start off something. Not everything needs to be successful. To start off, I just want little of money and I'll keep growing my company as the years go by. Because I also want to make animation. I also want to make novels, video games. I want to make a lot of things. So I feel like more ideas will always help me up, will always build the company up. So I'm really looking forward to do something. So I'll start preparations for a comic because I've been writing so much on my novel. I feel like I can release both at the same time. So I can release a novel and then I can release a comic book, and both will possibly do well, or maybe one will do better than the other. As long as I get enough to continue the company, that would be amazing. So I think I should go forward with the trans superhero because I have so many concepts for that character. I think it'll be cool. And when writing a trans character, it is interesting because I don't want to always do the same woke tropes. I'm very against that. Most of my writing is not woke. It's strange, but it's not woke. I have so many stories that connect mostly to traditional concepts. So this one will be pretty interesting. I don't think it will get people angry. I don't want to make things to get people angry. I refuse to make things just to get a big response out of it, because I just want to make things and entertain people. It doesn't matter if people slightly get offended. I don't do that. I don't do things to get them offended. I do things to entertain people. That would be fun, and there are many influential people to look for inspiration. Yeah, all I need is to just work slightly better on the villain of the story. I do know there's a lot of villains in my stories. I always like to write good villains because the hero can never be that powerful without a good villain. The villain always has to be slightly strong, or maybe slightly smarter than the hero, and that would be perfect. So I think I'll work with that. I think that would be my next project, my next big project. I kept thinking of writing two books, but then I kept thinking to myself, it's going to be impossible. I did not realize I can write a comic book and I can write a novel at the same time. Because if I'm going to be writing two novels, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take more time. So if I just do a comic book separately and a novel separately and sell them at the same time, I'm bound to make enough money. Now, the comic book will be in color because I like to give things in color unless the story requires it to be black and white. So most of my comic books will be in color. Now, I will have to color it physically because I don't like coloring digitally because it always triggers my migraine. When I stare on the computer for far too long, it always it always hurts my eyes. And if I'm going to be coloring every panel, I might as well do it on a piece of paper instead because that's much better. It will actually help my eyes a bit more. I won't worry about technical difficulties. I will be able to do a lot more. So I think I should do physical coloring. That would be perfect. That would be amazing. I do have a lot of pieces of paper just lying around. I need to use those papers. I need to at least use them because I've had them for a couple of years and I've never used them. What else? I just need to get a couple of pens and pencils, and I think I'm perfect. I would love to draw digitally because it saves so much time when it comes to saving on paper. It saves money, but at the same time, it is going to hurt my eyes. So I might as well do something different. I might as well just color it on the paper, and then I will scan it on the computer. I also have another superhero story. The superhero can absorb anger. That was the interesting part about the superhero, but that's it. I feel like I want to work on that superhero a bit later because the story is much more bigger than what I'm wanting to put right now. The trans superhero is not as big as my other stories. It's gonna be very small, very light, and I feel like it won't really be as impactful to what I'm trying to write because I'm trying to make all of my stories connect. And some stories might not be so heavy, some stories might be too heavy. That's why they deserve more time to be developed. Okay, let me just check on some stuff. So I have a lot of videos to make. I keep saying that, but I end up not making so many videos. I have so many videos to edit and all that type of stuff. And sometimes I'm just lazy to edit them. Manual shading will give the comic a whole new feel, and it'll look different from everyone else's off top too. Yeah, it will look very different. I'm trying to keep the comics with the realistic style. I would love to use the anime style, but I feel like that would be just not fitting for the story. It depends on the story. Some stories might have very clean feel depending on what I'm trying to tell. If I'm telling a story with characters that are very barbaric, very angry, then I'm going to draw the characters and make them look very untidy. You will see all the sketch marks, you'll see the raw drawings, so it kind of matches it out. So if I'm doing some kind of story that's, you could say, very neat, very tidy, very simplex, I will keep it that way. But if I'm writing a story with characters that are very wicked, I'll try and do a very rough sketch of those drawings, of those characters, and send them in, because I want that to represent the characters. I want the style to represent the story. It's all about representing what's there. Because sometimes certain things can fit into different art styles, but it won't feel right. I always want to match the art style with the characters. I always think that's very important.